God says, "My beloved child, this is a very crucial message for you today. Do not ignore it. Pay special attention to each word. Because something is about to happen. Light that shakes the very foundation of what you thought you were." I realized this message wasn't just information, is revelation. Something muttered in silence, now ringing in eternity for your ears. Listen for your heart to receive, and for your soul to understand. This is the biggest secret. Out, your sister is not. You have felt it, haven't you? That weird tug in your heart, that restless stirring in your soul, the question that never fully goes away, aching without a name but has lived silently inside you for years. You believed it was yours. You imagined that you might be just overthinking, too sensitive, soft-hearted, but what if your instincts were not wrong? What if your intuition was attempting to tell you the truth? The whole time the sky knows that the wind carried this secret. For years, I hoped that one day you would be ready to receive. On that particular day now, the curtain is being pulled back, and what you are about to understand is something that will lift your spirits free, even if it makes your heart quake. For currently, there is something unspoken between you and a shadow that has always stood behind her. When she smiled, her voice flickered. Calls you. The kindness feels forced sometimes, does it not? The affection feels wrapped up with something it's not clear. Hate, it is not love, is something in between, a performance, perhaps a game she's been playing. You didn't realize you were a part, but now you're beginning to see. Your sister is not. You've been there since you were small. Have been. Signs are quiet, the indicators are weak, but persistent. When you achieved, the first to smile, although you could feel the tremble in her joy. When you failed, she consoled you. However, a peculiar satisfaction danced behind her. She comforted you while you were broken. Your hand, but occasionally you worried if she was the one that cracked. You felt protected in her presence. Surface, but deep down you never truly comfortable. Something within you always remained watchful. Now, everything starts to make sense. This is not about resentment, is what this is about. Revelation, because what is hidden in light is finally louder than falsehoods. Wrapped in shadows you need to hear. You need to open your heart now, before stillness eats you entirely. There is something ancient. I stirred something holy, and this reality may injure it. Will also heal. She is not who you think she is. Is not in name, soul, or spirit, was what you've termed family. Built on a weak floor. There was a decision taken long ago by people older than you. You never saw behind the doors. There was a pact, a decision. Disguise yourself, and you were the light in the middle of. Nobody ever told you about it. They were terrified about how they would reveal the truth. Brightly you would sparkle if you ever. I knew she had been placed near you for, but not for the reason you were informed. You weren't supposed to grow side by side. You were designed to be watched, observed, compared. Possibly even she was told to monitor you, and she did not with the eyes of a sister, but with the gaze of someone who desired something you had. And every time you rose higher, I found a way to grasp the ladder. Not to aid you climb, but to count steps and measure your path. You shared meals, you shared laughter, you shared years, yet you didn't share. Because her heart was tied elsewhere, connected to anything that had nothing to do with love, but everything to do with purpose, and her purpose was not connection, was her goal. Control is the biggest secret. Your sister is not yours. Sister not by bond, not by blood, not by soul. The fact is she came into your life with a mask, and somewhere deep down, she forgot what she was wearing. She performed her role so perfectly that even she came to believe. However, the moment has come for the performance till the end. The show cannot go on because your spirit is too alert. Now your soul, too aroused, the masquerade cannot hold up. The weight of what heaven will do in your life has a destiny for you, and she cannot copy. She has done you a favor. Cannot carry. There is a brightness in you that she cannot see. Dark, regardless of how many times she stands in your shadow. God says this is your chance to walk in clarity, to walk in freedom, to walk in truth, not uncertainty. You were never intended to doubt your worth based on someone else's quiet jealousy. You were never intended to carry the blame of being overly clever and gifted too cherished. You were never supposed to shrink, make someone else feel taller. She is not yours enemy, but she's not your reflection either, and that's what matters. Because you have spent too long looking at her, trying to understand. You've squandered too many hours. Wonder why her love feels like a cold room with a warm blanket. You've questioned the value because she caused you to question you've inquired, what did I do wrong? When the fact is you did everything right. You didn't realize the game was rigged. This is not to, this is to demolish. This is not to divide, this is to lift the veil, because you are surrounded by others who smile with their mouths but cry with their hearts when they see not, because you've been injured. However, they are aware that they cannot become. Instead of celebrating you, they try to confuse you, make you believe in their coldness. What is you are at fault for their distance. But it's you are always intended to rise higher in you, but the enemy of your elevation is often disguised as the familiarity, as comfort, as family, as a voice that knows how sounds like love, yet feels like skepticism. You need to listen carefully. Now, the one who stood by you all this moment has not always been with. There were prayers prayed silently. However, not all of them were for you. You're good. There were conversations concerning you in rooms to which you were never invited. There were dreams you had that we were slowed not by fate, but by timing, by folks who didn't want to see you rise before they did. That explain your progress? Delayed, which is why your heart has felt heavy, is why you've had breakthroughs and then breakdowns due to the weight of a lie is heavier than the truth, and you have been harboring a secret that no one told you about. Your sister is not, she is not who they said she was. Was she not what she told you she was? And, deep down, You've always known, yet you needed confirmation, and this is yours. Please confirm that this is your consent. Stop questioning. Stop second-guessing the method. You feel when you are around she should not confuse discomfort with guilt. You have the right to protect your tranquility. Even if it means taking a step back. People who used to sit at your the table has turned. The feast is different. Now, the season is changing, and some people are not meant to step into this new door with, because of the invitation to your the future does not extend to all figures from your past. You are about to rise in a way you've never risen. But first, you must unleash what is fake. You must let go of what is only half true. You must separate from the illusion of connect and appreciate the honesty of solitude for a time, because the reality is you've never really been alone. You have simply been crowded by the wrong energy. As soon as you acknowledge this reality, this is when your heart begins to breathe differently. The weight lifts, the fog clears, and you don't see her as reflection, not as your competitors, even as your betrayer, but only as someone who has never truly belonged in your inner circle. To begin, peace is with you. Your glow is returning. Your strength is awakening. Those who attempted to sit quietly on the sidelines of your life, they are secretly hoping that you will collapse. Watch speechless as you rise, as you soar. When you walk into the depth of who are you, no longer haunted by, no more questioning why love felt more like a performance presence. This is your healing. This is this moment is yours. Truth, and now you know you can't unknown. You cannot go back. You cannot fake. You can't force a friendship that never existed. Real, let her leave, not with hatred, but with clarity. Let her go, not in fury but in peace. Let her go, not because matters but because you. What counts now is what you do. Purpose of your call. Your truth is the biggest secret. You were always intended to find out. Even if it broke even if it confused your mind, even if it changed everything, because on the other side of this truth is something sacred. Freedom that cannot be. I took a joy that cannot be manipulated, an impossible path stolen. The veil is lifted. Now, everything makes sense. I sense your sister is not yours. She never it was, but you are still you, and that is more than enough, my child. This is a message you, and it begins not in the silence of yesterday, in the echoing halls of paradise where the scroll with your name was unrolled before time spoke the first breathe, in the profound silence of timeless region where the stars were quiet. Learning how to blink into light, a truth was uttered softly, kindly, yet with thunder that would one day wake you up, soul. And now is that today. The timing has ripened, the veil is lifting. You have been wandering with a query in mind. Your heart and the response has been looking for you as a flame yearns to return to its source. Something you believed was complete has been cracked for quite some time. When what you thought you knew was true was weighed and found hollow. Someone you trusted was wearing the skin of familiarity, but heaven has observed from a distance and captured the moments you. I glanced at their eyes and called them family, only to encounter a soul that has hidden more than you. This is not meant to shake you, but to wake you up. This is not to disrupt your peace, but to finally loosen the chains that have bound your spirit to confusion. Emotional tiredness, murmured betrayals, the time for clarity has come. As dawn chases away the fog, pays close attention. What you suspected deep within the feeling that something has not been for years, it is not yours. Imagination is the gentle knocking of divine truth at your door. Mind the secret. Is this the one you have? Your sister is not your sister. Spirit in truth or loyalty, there is a bond, but it's not the one you. I assumed it was a connection formed by names and lineages, but not by. She stood beside you, not as a protector, not as a buddy, formed from the same rib of spiritual goal. Nonetheless, someone put near you for reasons not of your choosing. Your heart recognized her as family, yet she heard her decisions and intentions were woven from something else totally. You provided love you believed freely and innocently. Someone who still thinks that shared memories mean shared souls. You remembered her birthdays, you said her name in prayers. You have kept secrets, for you carried her responsibilities like they were your. You thought she'd be the one. Stand beside you when the winds turned. The world felt like it was falling, but the fact is, when you looked, she went away when you weren't looking. Carried talks that never should have happened. She took decisions behind closed doors. She saw your name as currency. Trade, and the sky can no longer keep silent any longer. Your tears were never invisible. Every time you questioned why, her vibe felt different every time. Every time she smiled, the embrace felt colder. With her mouth, but her eyes betrayed. The heavens were something else. Observing the divine kept. There are times when you don't even remember that they bear greater weight than you. Do you remember that one night you cried while telling her something sacred? Something hefty and rough. What you shared was not stored confidence, was passed as a narrative, told around a table of misunderstanding. She did not perceive the expense. Amidst your pain, she recognized an opportunity, your vulnerability. You must realize this. Revelation is not to cause division in your heart's purpose is to set you free. This is to explain why the pieces haven't been. This explains why your soul has been fatigued. Even in her. Why did you feel fatigued afterwards? Every encounter, but did not know why. Did you give and give and give? However, your cup never felt full. You were pouring into something that had a hole at the bottom, and it's time to stop. The divine does not reveal things to punish the skies. Reveal the hidden so that healing can begin, so that your feet can walk on honest earth, so that you can rebuild inner world with others that see you completely and without pretending. You don't have to hate. You don't need to scream. You only need to accept that the role in your story was never meant to go as far as you believed. Some souls came into your life not to stay, but to teach you how. What is the difference between illusion and truth? Let your heart to break if necessary. Sometimes, the shattering is the beginning of clarity. Sometimes comes when you can no longer pretend that this is the time. Start to breathe again, and the breath you take now, right? Now is a holy time. One is the breath of someone who is being restored. You were never crazy. You were never wrong to love. You were never foolish for her. Hoping, but now you're given the gift of vision, the truth is being presented to you. Wrapped with grief, but also in power to walk. Away power to protect your spirit. The ability to stop watering gardens that were never yours to. If you're crying right now, okay, heaven is gathering everything. Not a single tear of your anguish will be wasted, it will all turn into rivers that push you forward. You are not alone. There are those who will enter your life soon, who will feel like sunlight. Of shadow they will not confuse. They will not gaslight you. They will not challenge your memories. Worth, they will sit near you. Understand the language of your heart. Without you having to explain, there is healing on the horizon. Peace is in the wings, ready to descend on. There is delight that will come softly. Quietly but steadily. Once the tempest inside you have been still, you are about to enter a new season, one where truth is in the air. Breathe, one where secrets are no longer bound. You one when your spirit is light, unburdened, and overall, this is more than merely this is a magnificent moment. Interruption. You are being yanked out of from misleading storylines to your true. The way ahead will not look like this. The past. You will no longer feel as performing a version of oneself just for keep the peace. You will no longer sacrifice own essence in order to be accepted by someone who never accepted you completely. Return. Your voyage has been sacred, even in the confusion, even in the betrayal, even in the silence you kept. For too long the sky know the truth, the winds have whispered your name with compassion, and the heavens lean low and express it with soft force. Eternity, enough of faking. Enough flowing into someone who has not. I stood beside you when it was important enough to phone a stranger. Sister, you are getting a new spiritual. You are surrounded by family members who will celebrate your brightness without envy, who will protect your name when you're not in the room, that will never ask you to shrink. They can shine. There is beauty coming, there is rest coming, there is truth so deep and rich that it will obliterate every falsehood that was attempted. Take root in you, let go. Now, not with bitterness, but with sacred release. She was never your sister, by the way. Your heart craved her, and that is okay. Not every story has to be covered forever. Not every connection was made for forever. And now that you know it, your spirit is awake, and you may finally walk away peacefully. There will be instances ahead where you miss what could have. So that's normal, but do not linger. There is a future that belongs to you, does not exist in what may have. It exists in what will be, and what will be brighter than you can imagine now. Breathe more deeply than previously. You're still standing, you are still loved, you are still. You have been chosen and are still protected. There is nothing wrong with the heart simply adored someone who didn't know how to hold. However, new arms are coming, new voices, a new peace. And when it arrives, you will look back at this time and recognize that it was the beginning of your true becoming. God says, there is no reason to fear this. Truth has not come to ruin you, but to deliver you allowed it to penetrate your bones, allow it to be the strength that guiding your future steps. Allow it to remind you that you were always deserving of love that did not hide in shadows. This is the biggest secret. Out, and now that it's in the light too will be set free. Your freedom begins here, and heaven rewards you. Now a new page is turning. Walk into it. Walks. You were never supposed to stay. Love was barely half true. You were meant for the complete. Truth is coming one step at a time. Time as you release and rise.